There are moments in life when you do something that feels right in your bones, and immediately regret it the next morning. Not because it was wrong, but because you suddenly realize how much it's going to cost you. This story begins with one of those moments, in a glass building downtown, on a Tuesday that looked painfully ordinary from the outside. My name is Ethan Cole. And up until that week, I was exactly the kind of guy people thought had it all figured out. He worked in elite sports management. Big clients. Big contracts. Big smiles for cameras. He wore tailored suits, flew first class, knew which fork to use at charity dinners, and had enough money in my account that I never checked prices at restaurants. On paper, my life looked clean, sharp, successful. But somewhere along the way, something inside me started to itch, and I couldn't ignore it anymore. It started quietly, the way most uncomfortable truths do. A phone call at 2 in the morning. A player with another concussion, the fourth one in less than 2 years. The team wanted him back on the field in 10 days. Insurance paperwork already drafted. Pay statements ready to go. And then there was his son, 8 years old, sitting in a hospital chair that was way too big for him, swinging his legs and asking me if his dad was going to be okay. I didn't ask the doctor. I didn't ask the coach. He asked me. That night, I didn't sleep. And the next morning, I wrote a proposal that would change my life forever. It wasn't dramatic. It wasn't revolutionary. It was just honest. Fewer clients. More care. Longer recovery times. Real concern for the people behind the jerseys. He knew exactly how it would land. He knew the board wouldn't like it. But I still sent it. By the time I walked into the office the next day, my stomach felt like it was full of broken glass. I remember gripping my coffee cup a little too tight, standing in the elevator, rehearsing conversations that would never actually happen. Apologies. Explanations. Compromises. What I didn't expect was applause. As I walked through the open floor, people started clapping. Quiet at first. Then louder. Some nodded at me. Some smiled. A few even mouthed thank you. For a brief, stupid moment, I thought maybe I was wrong. Maybe this was going to work out. It didn't. By noon, I was sitting across from my boss, Martin Hale. A man who smiled with his mouth but never with his eyes. He didn't yell. He didn't argue. He just folded his hands and said, "You've crossed the line, Ethan." An hour later, my access was revoked. My clients were reassigned. Security walked me back to my desk while people pretended not to look. No farewell email. No exit interview. Used a cardboard box and a polite but firm request to leave immediately. That was the day I learned how fast success can evaporate. Still, even as I stepped out into the sunlight with my box of desk junk and a cheap goldfish I'd bought on a whim months earlier, I told myself this wasn't the end. It was a reset. He had a plan. He believed that if I started fresh, if I invited the people who trusted me, someone would come along. They didn't. One by one, colleagues shook their heads. Too risky. Bad timing. Kids in college. Mortgages. Even Lily, my assistant. The one I trained from scratch. She wouldn't even meet my eyes. "I'm sorry," she said, voice trembling. "I need to think about my future." He smiled. He told her I understood. I didn't trust my voice enough to say anything else. By the time I reached the lobby, I felt like the loneliest man in the city. He picked up my fish, held the plastic bag against my chest like a shield, and headed for the door. That's when someone stood up. Her name was Claire Monroe. She wasn't loud about it. She didn't make a speech. She just grabbed her coat, walked over to me, and said, "I'm coming with you." People stared. Someone whispered her name. Someone else shook their head. Claire was a single mother. A mid-level account manager. Smart, steady, invisible in the way good people often are. And she chose me. At the time, I didn't understand what that choice would mean. He just knew it mattered. The weeks that followed were brutal. He went from managing dozens of top-tier athletes to chasing phone calls that never came back. He learned what silence sounds like when you need an answer. He learned how quickly promises dissolve when there is more money on the table. One night, I thought I had a breakthrough. A verbal agreement with a high-profile player. Nothing signed, but his words sounded solid. They weren't. By the time I showed up with paperwork, my old company had already swooped in with a better offer. The deal vanished. So did my confidence. And just to add insult to injury, I found out who helped make it happen. My fiancée. Her name was Rachel. We'd been together 3 years. She loved my ambition. Loved my image. Loved what I represented. But not who I was becoming. When I confronted her, she didn't deny it. She laughed. "I'm not going down with you," she said. "You did this to yourself." That night, I broke down in my car, hands shaking on the steering wheel, unable to drive, unable to breathe, wondering how everything I built had collapsed so cleanly. I didn't know where else to go. So I called Claire. I told her everything. The failed deal. The betrayal. The fear. She listened. Didn't interrupt. Then she said, "Come over." Her apartment was small. Lived in, warm in a way my place never was. Her son, Noah, peeked around the corner when I arrived, curious but unafraid. Clyde cleaned a cut near my eye from an argument I barely remembered starting. She didn't ask questions. She just took care of me. And something shifted that night. Not romance. Not yet. Something quieter. Deeper. Safety. For the first time in weeks, I slept. I wish I could say that was the moment everything turned around. It wasn't. It was just the moment I realized I wasn't completely alone. And sometimes, that's the only thing standing between you and the edge. The thing no one tells you about hitting bottom is that it's rarely dramatic. There is no thunder, no cinematic collapse, no moment where the universe pauses to acknowledge your pain. Most of the time, it's just quiet, and paperwork, and the slow realization that tomorrow looks exactly like today. After that night on Claire's couch, life didn't magically improve. If anything, it became smaller. Mornings were coffee brewed too weak because I was rationing beans, emails refreshed too often, hope measured in tiny, embarrassing units. I'd sit at my kitchen table, laptop open, staring at names I used to call without thinking, now wondering if they looked desperate reaching out again. Clyde showed up every day anyway. Not dramatically. Not with speeches or motivational quotes taped to the fridge. She showed up with questions like, "Did you eat, and do you want Noah to walk the fish with us later," even though we both knew fish don't walk. Noah liked me. That part scared me more than the bills. It was the kind of kid who filled silence with curiosity, not noise. Asked questions that weren't intrusive, just honest. Why do players wear mouthguards? Why do coaches yell if they already know the rules? Why did his dad leave? That last one he asked once, quietly, while lining up toy cars on the floor. Clyde froze in the kitchen. He didn't answer. He didn't know how. Somewhere in the middle of all that, a name appeared in my inbox. Marcus Reed. Not a star. Not even close. Backup receiver. Undersized. Though outspoken for his own good. 5 years left in the league if he was lucky, 3 if he wasn't. He wanted representation. Not glamour. Used someone who wouldn't lie to him. We met at a diner off the highway, the kind of place where the coffee never cools and the waitresses call you honey whether they like you or not. Marcus showed up early. Nervous energy. Hands moving constantly. He talked fast, complained faster. "They don't respect me," he said. "Guys who can't catch a cold get paid more than me." He listened. Then I told him the truth. "They don't pay for potential," I said. "They pay for reliability. And right now, you scare them." He didn't like that. Pushed back. Accused me of siding with management. For a second, I almost softened it. Almost said something smoother, softer. Then I remembered why I was here. "You want to win or you want to be right?" He asked. He stared at me for a long time. Then nodded. "All right," he said. "Teach me how not to scare them." That was the deal. Working with Marcus was exhausting. It was raw, emotional, allergic to criticism. Every bad practice felt like a personal attack. Every overlooked opportunity became evidence of conspiracy. There were nights I drove home gripping the wheel, wondering if he'd made a mistake betting what little credibility I had left on him. Clyde saw it all. The late returns. The tension in my shoulders. The way my mind never quite left the field even when my body was home. She never told me to quit. Never told me to slow down. She just made space. A space to talk. A space to be quiet. A space to fail without being judged. At some point, without planning it, I started staying over more often. Noah started waiting up for me. Clyde started pretending not to notice. Then one night, after Noah fell asleep, she said it out loud. I didn't leave my job because I'm reckless, she said. I left because I was tired of watching good people get swallowed whole. I didn't answer right away. I was afraid if I did, it'd say something that would break the fragile balance we'd built. So instead, I said, I don't know if I'm ready for anything serious. She nodded. I know, she said. I just needed you to know why I'm here. That honesty, it weighed on me. Weeks later, Marcus finally caught a break. A chance at a starting spot. One game. One real opportunity. But there was a problem. The team offered a contract extension that barely covered groceries compared to what others were making. Marcus exploded. This is disrespect, he said. You expect me to take this? He didn't raise my voice. Didn't sugarcoat it either. You can fight this, I said. Or you can play the game long enough to change it. He accused me of selling out. Accused me of being scared. And for a split second, he was right. He was scared. Scared of failing again. Scared of dragging Claire and Noah down with me. Scared of choosing the wrong hill to die on. Then Claire stepped in. She didn't argue numbers. Didn't talk strategy. She looked at Marcus and said, he's the only one here who don't get paid unless you succeed. That shut the room down. Marcus signed the deal. The season was brutal. Marcus took hits that made the crowd gasp. Bled through injuries that should have benched him. And slowly, quietly, people started noticing. Not because he was flashy. Because he was consistent. Then came the game. The one everyone would remember. Division on the line. Playoff implications. Weather so cold it burned. Marcus got targeted all night. Hard hits. Latte tackles. On the final drive, down by 4, he caught a pass over the middle, jumped, landed, and didn't move. The stadium went silent. He ran onto the field before anyone could stop me. Clyde was watching from home. Not at all. I called her from the sideline, kept the line open, talked her through every update because I knew what it felt like to wait without knowing. When Marcus finally sat up, the noise came back like a wave. They done it. They earned it. The next week, the contract came. 4 years. Enough money to change his family's life. He cried. He cried. We hugged like men who'd been through something that couldn't be explained quickly. But even then, something wasn't right. He went home expecting to celebrate. Instead, Claire was quiet. Not angry. Not dramatic. Just tired. I need to know where this is going, she said. Because I can't keep building something you're not sure you want. He didn't have an answer. Not yet. That night, I slept on the couch. And for the first time since everything began, I wondered if winning professionally might cost me the one thing I hadn't realized I needed until it was already at risk. People talk about crossroads like they're dramatic moments, like you stand there fully aware that one step will change everything. That's not how it felt. For me, it felt like lying awake on a couch that wasn't mine, staring at a ceiling fan turning too slowly, realizing that the silence in the room wasn't peaceful anymore. It was disappointed. Clyde went to work the next morning like everything was normal. She made breakfast for Noah. She reminded him to pack his lunch. She smiled at me before she left. That scared me more than if she'd yelled. Because when someone stops fighting, it usually means they already started letting go. He spent that day doing what I always did when I didn't know how to deal with my personal life. He buried myself in work. Marcus was doing interviews now. His name was trending in sports circles. Sponsors were calling. People who wouldn't return my email 6 months ago suddenly wanted lunch. Isolde felt victorious. Instead, every compliment felt hollow, like applause coming from the wrong room. Marcus noticed. You okay? He asked after a meeting, leaning against the doorframe, still wearing practice gear. Yeah, I said automatically. I didn't buy it. You know, he said, when I got hurt growing up, my mom used to say something that pissed me off. He waited. She said, pain don't mean you're losing. Sometimes it means you're finally paying attention. He laughed softly. Sounds like something my therapist would charge me for. I smiled, then got serious. You got people waiting for you at home, he said. Don't screw that up thinking you're being responsible. That night, I went to the stadium alone. The place was empty, lights half off, the field stretched out in front of me like a memory. I sat in the stands where fans usually screamed, and for the first time, I let myself feel tired. Not physically. Emotionally. I thought about everything I chased. Titles. Recognition. Being indispensable. And I thought about Noah falling asleep on my shoulder. About Claire listening without interrupting. About the way she never asked me to be anything other than honest. I realized something then, something embarrassingly simple. I'd been confusing effort with love. I thought working harder meant caring more. I thought providing meant protecting. But all I'd really been doing was keeping one foot out the door, just in case. The next game was the championship. The kind of game people build legacies on. Marcus played like a man possessed. Every catch felt intentional. Every hit absorbed, not avoided. Late in the fourth quarter, tied score, final drive. He caught the winning pass. The stadium exploded. Confetti fell. Cameras swarmed. Strangers hugged. He stood there, smiling for photos, shaking hands, doing everything I was supposed to do, and all I could think about was getting home. He left before the interviews ended. Drove straight to Clyde's apartment. When I knocked, she didn't answer right away. Then the door opened. She looked surprised. Not angry. Just unprepared. I'm not here to convince you, I said before she could speak. I'm here to tell you something. She crossed her arms. What if? I've spent my whole life thinking love was something you prove later, I said. After you built enough. After you earned enough. After you felt secure enough. My voice cracked. It didn't stop. But that's not love. That's fear wearing a nice suit. She looked down. He stepped closer. I don't want to laugh where I only show up halfway. I don't want Noah thinking that's normal. And I don't want you wondering every night if you're alone even when I'm sitting next to you. Silence. Then Noah appeared in the hallway, rubbing his eyes. Are you staying? He asked. He looked at Claire. She nodded. So I nodded too. Weeks passed. Life didn't suddenly become perfect. There were arguments. Schedules. Missteps. But there was also dinner at the table. Homework on the floor. Laughter that didn't feel scheduled. Marcus signed another contract. Be here. Better. He thanked me publicly. He corrected him privately. You saved yourself, I said. I just stopped lying to you. One evening, months later, Claire and I sat on the balcony, city lights humming below us. You know, she said, I used to think being strong meant not needing anyone. He smiled. So did I. She leaned into me. Turns out, she said, it just means choosing who you let hold you up. That was it. That was the lesson I'd been running from my whole life. Success didn't feel like winning anymore. It felt like being present. If you're still here, still listening, maybe there's a part of this story that hit closer than you expected. Maybe you're working late thinking it's love. Maybe you're waiting to be ready. All I say is this. The people who matter aren't asking for perfection. They're asking for you. If this story made you feel something, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Drop a comment. Share your own experience. And if you know someone who needs to hear this, send it their way. Thank you for staying with me until the end.